Okay guys, here we go. We had a question asked probably 2 months ago or so by Redneck Railroad asking about Chinese ball joints that he was going to put in the Impala. Were they good or bad? He wanted people's opinions. Okay, now the one to the left here, well, let's say one thing first. There's OEM, meaning original equipment manufacturer, not the brand name OEM, and then there's aftermarket. Okay, aftermarket can come from anywhere. The original manufacturer can come from anywhere. This particular item is from Japan, the one to the right is from China. Okay, here's the problem I have with some Chinese parts, though, especially the ones that say they meet and exceed original equipment. A lot of times the Chinese parts are copies of the original parts. They take an original part, they copy it, change a couple things, and put it out there. Done. I know people that do it. That's how I know that's the way it goes. Now, they don't always copy an OEM part. Sometimes they copy a reproduction or a aftermarket part. Now, here's where my problem lies. When these parts are copied, say this part was just made, just manufactured, the vehicle's new, and they copy it. They start producing them, putting them out there. Then there's a recall on the first part. All the other ones are out there, so they just copied and altered a flawed part. Always got to keep that in the back of your mind. And when do you get the recall notice from an aftermarket part? Never, because they don't know you bought it. So they might post them somewhere, like I remember seeing, I think it was Napa brand had a recall on fuel pumps. I stumbled on it accidentally. I had the fuel pump, I never knew there was a recall on it. You're never going to find out. That's where the problem lies. Now let's get into the part. Let's compare the two of them. Now, there's the OEM, there's the aftermarket. Clearly smaller. Do you need this extra material around here? I don't know, I'm not an engineer. We all know that when we tighten down the tire on it, it acts as a wedge. So maybe if they make it this small, it might split. I don't know, you don't know. Okay? You don't know what the composition of the metal differences are. You can clearly see that this is shaped different than that. Now, one of these is a left, one is a right. Okay? But the lefts and rights are identical except for the curve. Now, right here, see that nice little arc? See what arcs in? See that one bows out and is jagged? That's your steering stop. So when you turn the steering all the way to the end, it hits here, and then when you go up and over, down a bump, it rubs. Okay, this one doesn't really have one. Okay, and then here's the other problem. This and that. Now, same vehicle, 11 years old, over 100,000 miles. Same vehicle, a month and a half old, and it failed and came out. Okay, they changed one ball joint on this vehicle. He obviously said something was wrong with it. It's aftermarket, it's China. Now, what failed is the question. You can see how rough it is. Now, these are not compression joints. A compression joint means that it is pushed down into the socket. These actually sit the other way. The stud points down, and the stud goes to low control, and the spring pushes down. This hooks to the knuckle, and that pushes up. So it only rides on that exact edge. So now the question is did the ball fail and machine this until it worked its way out and came out, because that grease is now metallic, or did something fail there and damage that? I'm not here to determine that. I mean, I have my theories on what happened, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is a month and a half after putting this ball joint in, the tire came off the vehicle. That's all that matters. So the question is the Chinese stuff as good as the OEM stuff? Not sure. You guys are going to have to determine that for yourselves, but just go back to what I said. Remember, the Chinese stuff is only a copy of this stuff, and if this stuff was made flawed, and they realize it's flawed, they're going to have a recall on it and redo it, as opposed to this stuff still going to be out there. So if there's the OEM, and there's a Chinese part made, and then another Chinese part made, then someone decided they're going to start making that Chinese part, and they copy the other Chinese parts. Every time they copy them, they get less and less precise, to the point where it lasts a month and a half. Now, I was hoping that this thing had 2 new Chinese ball joints in them, because I was going to pop the boot off and compare it. But this one's actually tight. The wheel was tight. There was no playing it whatsoever. This one squealed the day it popped. When they cut the wheel back and forth, they heard a creaking sound. Then the wheel popped off. So, getting back to the original Chinese ball joints that we were talking about earlier with Redneck Railroad, maybe the company that copied yours copied a good set. You don't know. Maybe they used the correct metal. I have no way of knowing. So, I recently bought a set of famous American-made low control arms with ball joints in for the Outlander 2 weeks before the car got totaled. Now, when I opened up the box, to my horror, the arm said China right on them. But the box said Made in USA. So, now that car's going to go back on the road, and we all know the accident had nothing to do with the ball joints, but they're coming out. Because I have no idea if they're good or bad. How am I ever going to know till they fail? And when they fail, it could be lights out.